let's start with those, obviously the rest of you were here last time. Have you got any questions of what I was talking about last time? Some of the stuff that you might not be clear on or that you heard and you're not sure about? So we're all clear on that. So in a nutshell then, Karen, what I was talking about to start with was working psychically or working spiritually. So if you're working psychically with another person, you're tapping into that person's energy. You're reading them basically. So you're in their energy and you're picking up what you might be feeling, a sensation in your body from what they're feeling. You might get given, you know, information, however that comes through your senses by working psychically, particularly just in that person's energy. Now, when you work with the spirit guide or other energies, you are then channeling that. So in order to channel, is that you're in a sort of space where it would be easier for you to be able to channel in, and that takes some discipline and practice to work out, you know, a way you're going to do that. Now, obviously, when you're working with Rahani, for example, we work with guides, and when you're in the session, you've called in your healing, you've called in the guides, and then during that, you're just either off the back of the intake form that you've had, you can see what's going on for somebody, and different guides will pop up either by themselves, presenting themselves to you, they'll just pop into your energy, or because you know about the guides. So I said, get to know the guides in the Rahani manual, you know, their attributes, so that you're kind of aware of, you know, if somebody comes in with, you know, pain, emotional pain in their heart, you might be working with Chamuel. If somebody needs to break ties with someone, you might be pulling in Archangel Michael, for example. So it's just to know a little bit about all the energies that you're working with, so that you can feel or sense or know who's stepped in to work with you. So then that energy is joining, so it's merging with your energy and working through you as a channel of energy with your healing, or if you're a medium, obviously they're bringing information. Okay, or as a channel, and this is more mediumship rather than what we'd be doing in healing, but obviously this does happen, is to know the difference between the spirit guide, which is a higher being, a person who's passed over, who wants soul rescuing, or a loved one that's come forward for you to work with you, to give you support, or to come in for you to give a message to their person that you've got it all working with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you can ask all these questions and start to learn how to feel what these feel like. So what often happens when we're not disciplined, because, you know, I'm still needing to learn about discipline, which is why I go to the class on a Tuesday night, because it makes me show up and do my work. Otherwise I'll just keep facilitating everyone else's. So it's a space for me to just be in a group and force me to do the work, have to show up and be disciplined and do the, you know, the tasks and stuff, because it's, you know, it's good to be in the receiving recipient mode as well, and to learn the discipline of how to challenge that. So like Cherry years ago taught me the threefold challenge, so that if someone stepped into your energy, you're asking, are you from the light? Are you from the light? Are you from the light? If that feels off, or you get a no or an answer, or something doesn't feel right, you send it away, is to know that you're always in charge of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, this is coming more and more for all of us, because we are channels, and we do need to learn how to manage this, and we need to remember we're in charge of that. Basically, what can often happen when we're undisciplined, which I was going to say just now, is that you'll end up with too many in there. you'll have a spirit guide and your loved one, someone else's loved one, someone tapping on your head asking to be soul rescued, and it's all a bit crazy. And then how do you know who you're working with if you've got no discipline and you've not gone, hang on a minute, you out, you not for today, you go and see so and so because they do soul rescuers, and actually just having your space who you want in there. And then you just set your intention to focus on that guide and work with them. Or the one that Susie teaches us is, are you working with the highest good of God? And you visualize seeing them holding up a flaming sword. If they can't hold that up, you send them away.
Yeah.
So I know you know some of this already, but it's really good to just keep going over this.
No, definitely.
If you're working in just psychically and you're reading somebody like you would be doing healing, you'll be sensing that they've got something going on around their gut, or you know that you're drawn to their big foot, or you can feel an emotion that's coming up for them. That's you working directly in that person, physical person's energy.
Yeah.
And then you might have a guide pop in to work with you as well. So there's a bit of a changeover. It's or if you're doing body talk or EFT or divine healing, you've got that direct link to the person that you're tuned into. So we all know the difference of all the different possibilities that we're working. Now your soul, this is a massive subject, and actually February and January, Cry, and I've listened in this last week since I did that talk, actually I've listened a lot more to Cry on, and he's talking about a lot of this stuff as well. So have a little listen.
I listened to the one that you put in the group.
Yeah,
that was really interesting, because a lot of that was about past lives.
Yeah. So they're all one soul. They're all different incarnations of you, and you've been many different things. You've been the light and the dark. You've been higher beings of light. You've been, you know, different beings, different planets. You've been around, and you incarnate where you're needed, where you've chosen to go and do that lesson that you're needed to do. So depending on your vibration, or the vibration of maybe your body, mind, and that soul combined, will depend on how different a vibration you'd be able to channel through. So the more work you do with clearing the shadow stuff, and the more work you do with keeping your vibration high or transmuting negative energies, have the emotions, they're not negative, but learn to move through it quicker, the more you're going to be able to channel of different vibrations. So if you're vibrating, you're having a good day and you're vibrating between 400 and 500, and you want to channel through and connect with an Arcturian, that's going to be more possible than if you've had a really shitty, angry, fearful day.
Yeah.
Having said that, that's not always the case, and sometimes if it's meant, they'll come in anyway. You can have one of those moments where you're just like, okay, I'm listening, and it just comes. So it's you know, it's practice and discipline, but sometimes there is a different rule to that. So it's not always exactly how I'm explaining it. And then you've got the whole walk-in scenario, that we'll have that chat on another day, because that's also massive. So very, very short description of a walk-in, for those who don't know, is a soul changeover. So it can be, you can integrate a soul for a short amount of time and have a tag along, if you like, or somebody's soul walks out and another one walks in, a higher incarnation, because they've got a purpose here that needs to be done and you need a soul upgrade.
Didn't Almira have that?
Yeah, and Nicholas too. He's actually just put one up on he's put a video up on his Facebook page today about his experience. He's been integrating a walk-in for a long time, and it's taken quite a long time. I haven't got to the end of the video yet, but if you're friends with Nicholas on Facebook, then you can have a look at that.
Don't think
it's on YouTube actually, so I might be able to share it in the group.
Oh, is it?
He's put it out publicly. Have you seen that, Faye?
Yeah.
The walk-in subject's huge, isn't it, as well?
Massive. Somebody told me in Divine Healing that I had one, and I didn't mean to this group, and the more and more I read about it, I was like, no, my soul's never changed. It's the same. It's it didn't fit with me, but
no, I'm not sure if I had a temporary, or because I had a total out of body experience in a crash when I was 17, and things were quite different for me after that, but I'm not really, like you, Faye, entirely sure.
So how would you know, like with Almira, how did she know, or Nicholas, how did they know?
I think the fact that Faye and I are questioning it is probably that it didn't happen, because I think you would know.
Right, okay.
It's like something totally comes in, and it's a whole new soul, isn't it?
It's not a possession, it's not something scary, it's an agreement, it's something that you would kind of have an awareness to, but it's not something that would happen to somebody unless they were already aware and awake and would know, you know, what that was normally, or you wouldn't really know about it anyway, because it might come off the back of an accident or a trauma, and then, you know, some people call it a midlife crisis, and it might not have been that, it might have been a soul change. But it's to do with divine purpose, and that you have a mission to fulfill.
I was just
for the
wondering,
good of humanity. It's normally that kind of thing.
Okay. I was just wondering if it's part of your soul contract that's going to happen at some point or not.
I think you can see it in there, but I think you can definitely see it in your astrology chart.
Okay.
As a possibility, but you'd have to have somebody who would be able to read the chart in that way.
Interesting.
And the newer planets that are in, like, you know, Chiron and Quor and the other one. Yeah, we learn about that in Body Talk as well. So yeah, that's a whole other subject. But basically, you know, when we're channeling archangels and guides and stuff like that, it's a higher aspect of, so everything, you're all one consciousness, so you can all tap into the field of energy. Some will be a lot easier and much more of a personal experience. You've had a longer lifetime somewhere, you'll have more affinity with that, but you can tap into the energy of anything in the field, any vibration. We are multi-dimensional beings that have done many things, and it's not just, you know, in one, time's not linear, we know that, but listen to some of the Cryon videos over the last 2 months, because that will explain that a lot better.
I like Cryon.
So yeah, any questions now I've said all of that?
Probably loads, but I'll save it for another day.
Go on, Mandy.
Say something. It's different, but it might trigger something. But I was offering some healing because 2 friends have both heard of relatives that have got cancer, and they said no on the sort of absent healing group thing. And I was just wondering, because one's a Christian and one is a scientist, they're both scientifically trained, and I know this is very off track, but it just seemed to me, I didn't really know how to deal with it. I thought I'd be fine with it, but actually I was really quite hurt by it. And I just wonder if, you know, why don't we contact God, go straight to God, and, you know, why do we have all the other beings that we contact before we contact?
We are always working in source energy, but we're in a different vibration of it.
Yeah.
So that you can differentiate between what you need. You're tapping
So
into
there's
a
different
different type
aspects
of, pardon?
It's different aspects of source energy. Okay.
Yeah, because this is about us. When we're all God, if you like. We're experiencing different aspects of ourselves.
Yeah.
God is to experience ourselves in many ways, light and dark, different vibrations. But the earth has gone from being a school of, you know, crash course in learning all sorts of, you know, crazy stuff, to ascending now. So when they brought in the nuclear age, there was no choice but to raise the consciousness, because we needed to be able to transcend that energy, because that doesn't just affect Earth, that would affect the whole universe.
Okay.
So we became the psychic age, and we were born. We've chosen to come here for this. It was a choice. So when this body mind dies, you go through a death review of your life and where you've gone, and then the transition that you have in that next space is kind of choosing what you're coming back to do next. We've moved out of the kind of law of karma to a certain degree. We're moving past that into conscious awareness of that, so we don't need to keep, so like if we've been bad, or if we've been done to, or we've been bad to somebody, come back and then you'd be the victim next time, and the next time you'd be the perpetrator. That cycle is kind of coming to an end. But again, there's a transition, and you know, in spiritual terms, time is not linear again, so quite how long that transition will take, who knows. You know, that we're coming out of that could still mean, it could mean 5 minutes or 10 years.
It's just,
So
I don't really know what to say to them other than accept it, and I expect that's probably the best thing to do. But
it's actually not personal to you, it's about their belief systems. It's not about you at all.
No, I get that, but I think,
and you're not the healer, you're a conduit for healing.
And
it's their belief systems about healing, and not you offering it. What probably hurt is that your intention was good and the sentiment was nice, and that they poo-pooed it.
No, they didn't. They were fine about it, but just, it was a kind but no. But I in some ways I just wonder if there's something that I could say which would just ask them to open their minds in a way that would help them see it differently. But
only if they were willing to have that conversation.
They
were hard no, is to respect they've got their own free will and just leave it.
No, I do understand that. It just left me wondering about something new, which I thought, I didn't know the answer to. I just thought I'd inquire. But it's a tricky subject. But
first and foremost would be, don't take it personally.
No, and I get that. My ego was getting in the way, and I understand that, and I managed it. But and I was very surprised that actually I felt like that. But I think it was just triggering some sort of dismissal. That
it's probably the behaviour of feeling rejected.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's interesting, Suzanne, when you're talking about coming back as either the perpetrator or the victim, and like how for a lot of us in this life, it's not really one or the other, right? It's just, you get triggered by things because you've probably experienced them before, but we're not going out of our way to hurt anyone, but we're also not really being hurt, are we really?
No. And because we're conscious that we've had both roles in our past lives, and because we're working in consciousness now, we can clear those programs in our Akashic records. We don't need to then come back and live the life again, because we're able to clear it. We're able to look at the shadow aspects. We're able to look at, you were this in the past life, and actually not always been the nice person, or fluffy, as Nicholas puts it. We've been both. But we don't need to necessarily keep doing those changing over cycles to feel it from all angles and experience every type of role in everywhere, or every, we've been every colour, every gender, every age, we've had all kinds of diseases, we've done all of it. We've got our soul group, like our own monad of all our incarnations through our soul, and then we've got your ancestral energy, which is more the chemistry that you share with your family line. It's a different thing again. But it's the soul transition is your kind of your DNA, isn't it? We've got, even just been attuned to Rahani because of how it was delivered to the planet, and part of the awakening upgraded your DNA. Divine healing upgraded your DNA. Body talk upgraded your DNA. Anything that you are upgrading, you're learning to. You get a new guide that comes to work with you and you're learning new skills, upgrade your DNA. You know, you're becoming more and more conscious, becoming more able to just see through the veil and think, that doesn't feel true, that doesn't feel right, that's not for me, or it's not my truth, or there's a bigger picture there. Like the news, for example, it's really easy for us now to go, that's not the whole story. So, and be able to discern, you know, a bigger picture to things. Just one aspect, you know how you feel in the company of some people if that's not for you anymore. We can be kind about it, but you have to move with where you're at. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was really funny. My mum the other day, I was dreaming. We were talking about this, like, truth. And I turned around to her in the dream and went, I bloody told you that Philip Schofield was gay when I was 7, and you said, no, he's got a wife. And I was like, you were always wrong. I remember saying that because she couldn't see it. She's like, but he's got a wife. I'm like, I'm 7. And from what you've just said to me, that man is.
Yeah, see, and you got to have that conversation with your mum in spirit instead in your dream.
That was the weird bit, yeah, not the Philip Schofield thing. Oh yeah.
But the more and more, you know, I've learned mediumship, for example, the more you can see that veil is also really thin. And actually, if you're in the right energy, you can tap into that. It's a different vibration again, and I'm having to learn to trust what's popping in my head and actually be brave enough to say it out loud. That's right, isn't it, Mandy's in that group. But yeah, and Susie really puts you on the spot sometimes. You're thinking, ooh, or she'll go, oh, you know what you're doing, so I'll choose you, and you're just like, oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not in charge here, this is not me in the, you know, in the teacher hat, I'm just a person in the class and now I know nothing. I'm going into that mode because that's the role I'm in that space. But it is just putting yourself out there and realizing actually this stuff, it all works. It's just is practice and discipline and boundaries, and you know, it's massively exciting. All of it. Do I want to go and stand on a stage as a medium and speak to dead people? No, that would scare the shit out of me. Not the dead people, but being in front of a massive crowd and then having nothing. Can you imagine? Standing up there and go, yeah, I got nothing, no one. I don't want to do that. I want to bring it into my sessions and stuff and my teaching. But it you know, it's all relative where you are in that understanding of your own soul evolution, where you are. And if it's meant to be that you've learned all your lessons and there's a next stage that you're responsible for, you may well get a walk in because you've come to a stage where it's just like, okay, this needs a changeover now. So that happens often rather than, you know, the body having to die.
So you do a swap basically.
Yes, sometimes it's temporary, but sometimes it's an agreement as well, and the souls change over. There's a higher aspect of soul that, yeah, the reason why it can take a long time to integrate is because you're incarnating a much higher vibrational soul than what you've been used to having in this body mind. You've got habits, and it will take time because suddenly you're not the same person to other people anymore. I mean, it is that distinct often. Sometimes you'll just have one piggybacking in with you to get through something that needs to shift, and then that will move off again. But that's a massive subject. There's a book called Walk-ins Among Us.
Who writes that?
I took a picture of it, actually. It's worth, I've dipped in and out of it online, but it would be worth having as a book. But again, massively fascinating, huge subject.
Mm.
Yvonne Perry.
Yvonne Prairie. Mm.
It's called Walk-ins Among Us.
Oh,
So that'd be good to understand that from the perspective of if you have a client that's had that happen, so you understand that they may come for healing because they're integrating.
mm.
But that will come into your awareness only if you really know what that's about. Otherwise, it won't be you they're coming to for that. They'll be coming for other things. So it doesn't matter that you don't know it. All right.
Mhm.
So is that all a bit clearer this time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just I think we just didn't know what we'd missed.
Yeah, because the internet kept dropping out.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's annoying. Right, let's do a couple of exercises that we did last week, just so that when we get into the meditation where you are bringing in guides, or an aspect of you, or whatever you want to look at it like, it doesn't really matter. But when you're with a guide, just you're not separate from them. They will merge with your energy. So just shut your eyes for a second. And I'll go with love again, because it's an emotion that everybody is familiar with, having felt all aspects of love. I just want you to just feel into your heart space, settle your energy down, relax with your breathing. Just feel into the energy of love. What does it smell like for you? So you may get clues during a session, or when you having healing for you, you may get clues as to who's stepping in or what energy is helping, just by developing your senses. What does love smell like? It's a good way of making your own dictionary of what different things mean to you, so that you know you're being given messages, how to decipher them, if you like. What does love taste like to you? Does it feel like really feel into love, either being loved or loving someone else, loving yourself? What does that feel like? What does it sound like? Sound of love. What does it look like? Okay, we're just going to switch emotions now. Just have an awareness. I want to tell you the emotion, where you are feeling this in your body. So I'm going to switch to anger. Where in your body does anger hide out? And what does that feel like as a sensation? noise would anger be? Does it sound like? What vibration would it be? How would it show up? Look like there'd be a symbol for it. Anger was showing up to you to show you something about someone else or about yourself. Would you be able to see a facial expression, or what would you see for anger? What would be something symbolic maybe? Taste of anger. What taste would be showing up here? All helps you to decode how you're feeling, or how somebody else might be feeling if you're tuning into them. Anger may taste like metal, for example, and you may get a metallic taste in your mouth while you're giving someone healing. It may give you a clue then so that you're helping shift the emotion of anger. And then you'd have certain ways of clearing that in a healing session or any other therapy. And what's the smell? What smell would show up with anger? Come back into this space when you're ready. So this is all good exercises to do to keep a pad maybe of what different emotions feel like to you, or what different emotions smell like, taste like, sound like, look like, so that when you're feeling a certain way and you can sense it somewhere in your body, you know where to direct your healing. Make a list of all your guides, list their attributes, get to know who they are, so that you can know that if you're angry, you may call in the violet flame to clear it, and then you may want to bring in Chambiol to create love into the space that's left, or something else. So it's just knowing, or if you were, a medium reading someone else, or you were getting given a message like the metal in taste in your mouth and you're drawn to the chest area, then something that they feel really angry about is stuck in their chest, and you would be knowing that you're there clearing that. You may feel the emotion anger. It's not yours because you've checked in with yourself where you're at the beginning of the session, picking up on it. It depends what senses you're dominant in as to how you pick up from other people. If suddenly somebody pops into your head, and they're generally might be an angry person, or if you someone in a situation where there was anger present, you're not necessarily always thinking about that other person, but it's that person showing you there's anger here. Again, it's symbolic. So I could be picking up on knowing that someone's dad was near me, but because my own dad popped into my head, and I would ask, is this about that? Am I sensing their dad's energy? Does that feel like a yes or a no? What emotion then did I feel? If you've gone through sadness and done that through the senses and practice, for example, these are all things you can practice on your own over and over. What does sadness feel like to you? If you're feeling that somewhere, then you're helping to know where it is in that person's body, or it might be your own sadness that you need to clear. You may be triggered by someone else's stuff. You're not in a healing scenario. You bumped into somebody and they're telling you your stuff. You feel sad for them, but for some reason you might feel more upset for yourself, and you think, okay, that's triggered something in me. What is that from my past that I'm struggling with? What emotion am I in? Where is it in my body? And am I in one of my senses? And then know how to clear that, know who the guides are, know the different colors that you can bring in to clear different chakras. Overlay the 7 chakras with the ascension chakras to clear, like we did in the class, the transition between 3D to 5D. Move into that sort of space like we did in the meditations, make your own up. And then just before we go into the meditation as well, and I will from this lead you straight into the meditation. Does anyone want to say anything before I do that? I'm going to do the elements next. All good?
Yep.
Perfect. So you can see how much scope there is to make your own, lists and lists and lists. Like you could buy a dream dictionary, for example, to get ideas, but then they might not be your symbols. They might say that, an otter means X, Y, Z, but to you, it could be something completely different. And it's what it means to you that matters, really. Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So I'm just going to put you all on mute for a minute. Okay, so just settle down again. I'm going to take you into the elements, and then we're just going to have call in a couple of guides. And I'll remind you of their attributes so that you can feel the sensations of those guides and where they feel like they are for you. And then maybe even send healing to ourselves or send healing to each other. So I want you just now to imagine it's a nice day and you're on the top of a hill. You could be at the top of Glastonbury Tor, for example, because we're going to talk about the wind. It was very windy. It's a nice sunny day and it was windy. Just feel the energy of that wind. Power, how that makes you feel in your body. Feeling the strength of the wind and the possibilities that are endless, the wind, what that actually helps with in nature. All the elements live within our systems as well. Wind creates movement in our bodies. It's necessary to get things moving. It may be stagnant in our own bodies in this area, may need one of the other elements to get that moving. It's the Chinese system of healing is to do with the elements. Is it warm or cold? What emotions are you in? It could be you could feel a bit concerned, you could be feeling invigorated. Bring about change in the wind. Scattering seeds, creating new growth, bringing the winds of change. If there's suddenly wind that comes to you in a session or when you're healing yourself, that may mean something. Just imagine now you've come down from the hill. It's a little bit chilly. So you light a fire. Just feeling into the energy of that fire. What fire represents: transformation, clearing. Clearing the way for new growth. Feel the power of that. Burning away the old. Maybe showing you that there's inflammation going on somewhere where there's too much heat. So fire may show up symbolically for you, for yourself, or in a session. Feel the earth beneath your feet now. Push your roots down into the earth. That connection. Feel into leaning up against a tree. The strength of that tree and the roots deep in the earth. The wood element in the earth, creating growth and grounding, protection, feeling anchored. If this shows up, does somebody need grounding? Do they need certain minerals that are in the earth? They need to be connected to nature, to Mother Earth. Do you need to feel connected? Just feel that connection. Feeling now, as you're stood there, that it starts to rain gently. It's just quelling that fire, putting that fire out, bringing that water through, that hydration for you and the earth. The energy of water, that life force, that living thing. All of these elements are living energy. Sense the sun coming out now, that heat of the sun. You make your way to a small brook that's running through the space in nature that you are. Just stepping down into that water. It's not very deep, it's just flowing through. You can feel the bottom and all the little pebbles. You can see life in the water, the fish. It's all going about its business. Just walk through this to the other side. Just take a seat either on the bank, the other side, or there may be a bench there for you, whatever you can see. Feel into sensing an energy connection coming closer. So you know you're grounded. Just pushing out your bubble of protection from your solar plexus, that golden bubble of light. Knowing that you're safe and protected. Pushing that bubble out further, you see a mist. Through this mist, you see a form starting to come into focus. We're inviting in Archangel Michael. Asking his energy to step closer. Feeling into his energy. And challenging this energy. Either, are you from the light? Are you from the light? Are you from the light? How does that feel to you? Or holding up the flaming sword. Are you working for the good of God and all mankind? Can they lift that sword? How does that energy feel? Anybody feeling this energy is not right, put your hand up, keep your eyes shut. Or are we all good to carry on? Okay, so we've all got the strength of Archangel Michael in our energy. Asking him to step closer still. Getting used to his protection. What does protection feel like? How do you feel around Archangel Michael, that courage and strength? Bringing truth to a situation. Getting to know his energy around helping you cut cords, sealing the ends, and sending energy away with love and light and healing. Knowing what courage feels like when he's around, so that you're familiar with his energy and you'll know when he's there. So his energy may come forward for you at other times during the day or with clients, and you'll just recognize that strength, connecting with you physically, emotionally, mentally. Feeling that cloak of protection around you. That golden bubble of light or a blue cloak. A blue flaming sword that helps cutting ties to the past or situations that we no longer want to be in, things that need to change. So we don't need to cut people as a whole out of our lives or a certain person, but we can just cut the cords to behavior that you no longer want to have with somebody. Or you may be assisting somebody else with that. So just think of a triggering situation, nothing too big, just something that you'd actually quite like to get shot of the energy. Just feel Archangel Michael's energy merging with yours, just blending the energy, feeling that strength, feeling protected. Just seeing the situation like a movie playing out in your mind. We just ask Archangel Michael to assist us in cutting the cords to that energy, to that situation. See the cords shriveling away, or they may burn away, or the ends will seal so there's no reattachment. See the issue maybe floating away in a boat, dissipating into nothing, sending that energy on its way with love and light. Asking for that assistance to let something go now that doesn't serve our highest purpose. Thank Archangel Michael for coming and ask him to step back, just moving away from our energy. Thank him for his assistance. Stepping out of our bubble and back through the mist. We're going to call in Archangel Raphael. See what colour Raphael shows up for you. Notice a colour forming in the mist. This energy, whether it's masculine or feminine for you, doesn't matter. And we'll ask Archangel Raphael to step forward. Raphael is the angel of healing and unity, feeling whole. So bringing healing to our situation that we've cleared. Tune in now to the six-pointed star to assist high above your head. And say Rahani, Rahani, Rahani 3 times. And allow Archangel Raphael to assist you in some self-healing. For you, this is coming down through your crown into your heart space and out through your hands, for your hands to be guided wherever you want to put them on your body. Bring healing to the space that needs to be healed. Asking Archangel Raphael to assist in helping us feel whole again. Bringing us back into that feeling of unity. If there's any past lives that you've healed or healing from, just knowing that there's bringing healing to your soul and your soul journey. Assisting you getting your life back on track again. Bringing you fully back into contact with your healing and spirituality. Healing those emotional wounds. Feel Raphael's energy wrapping around you like a giant hug. You may feel able to send love and healing for the situation that we cleared, or to each other here. If you want to send out this love and healing, ask Archangel Raphael to assist you, sending healing to the group, merging with your energy, connecting us all in healing. Channeling that energy and feeling Archangel Raphael's energy channeling through you also. When you're ready, we thank Archangel Raphael for coming. Thanking him or her for the gift of healing and love. See the energy moving away out of our space through the mist. And then finally, we're asking Archangel Uriel to step through the mist. Whatever sensation, colour, whatever sense you're in, however you feel, peace and tranquility. Again, challenging that energy, making sure that energy is for the highest good. Sense heat or wind or cold, just knowing that the energy is moving and clearing, bringing you into a space of peace and tranquility. Just allowing any tension now to move out of your body, especially the solar plexus. Finding that inner peace. Bringing you back into balance if you feel exhausted. Knowing what peace feels like, sounds like, looks like. Energy wrapped around you, merging with yours. Just asking Uriel now, before he goes, to give you a gift. or a symbol for you to bring in when you need to feel that inner peace. Giving you an anchor, if you like. Have an awareness to being given a gift or some words of wisdom. Or a sensation of peace and calm that comes over you, so that you can call on the energy. Anything you make a habit of connecting with comes very easily. We thank Uriel for the gift. Asking him to step out of our energy. Back through the mist. They're there to call on whenever you need them. Just being aware of your own body. Wherever you're sat. Seeing yourself just slowly moving back down the gentle slope. Feeling the water running over your feet. Back up the other side. Making your way back to the tree. Putting your energy back towards yourself. Knowing that you're anchored and grounded, and come back to the room. Really peaceful and lovely. Thank you, ladies. And you all managed to stay awake. Just. All right. Come off mute when you're ready. Have a drink of water if you've got one. Oh. Everyone all right?
Yeah.
Good. So how was that? Because obviously I did a slightly different meditation to what I did last week. How was that? Anyone want to share?
Well then, I did dip in and out. So I went off places for a bit, but the one I felt most was the last one. The peace was really, really nice. It was a familiar feeling that I'm aware of, but it was just really nice to put it on completely, if you know what I mean, in its entirety, which was really nice. That was the one that I liked the best. But yeah, it was
You can see how if you were giving yourself a Rahani session, for example, kind of choose who you're going to invite in or just see who might come up because you're familiar with them. It's a bit like learning to drive a car. If you've done all the left brain learning what they are,
yeah,
and then the right brain, you know, letting whoever needs to step in for you.
Yeah.
But rather than just putting your hands on and channeling the energy through, it's nice to actually have assistance, isn't it? And the energy merge.
Yeah, definitely. No, it was really nice. Thank you.
Good, you're welcome.
Shall I go?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I saw, I really felt the energy, both, all 3 times, that was really nice. I didn't really see anything, but I felt the energy, and with the transmuting the situation, I transmuted the situation that I was talking about earlier.
Oh, good.
And that felt great, and seeing it off on a boat, it was nice, and to really disconnect from it, and knowing that it's not, it is something I've had for a while, if you know what I mean, for a long while, that I usually kind of just put to the back of my, just get on with things.
So there may still need to be an outcome from that, but you're not attached to it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was lovely. And the peace one message, it was, there was something given, but I couldn't really say what it was, but it was gold color, and I suppose an item. It was kind of something, it just sort of flickered through, and then I was trying to get it back, but I couldn't. But then the words were stay close to me.
So that's maybe a guide for you to practice working with then.
Yeah. That's Uriel, is that right?
Uriel, yeah.
Uriel.
So if you have somebody very troubled, or you're feeling very troubled, then you call in Uriel. Bring that peace, channel that peace through you. You know what that feels like, and then you're channeling that with the Rahani energy through to your client, just to help bring some peace to that situation. But call it for you. Work on yourselves more. We all need to do that. There's loads of guides, and they're not set in stone. Any of the ascended masters and higher guides can work through Rahani. It's a 5th dimensional energy, so it's whoever's for the highest good of humanity moving forward. It's the healing modality for utilizing that energy and working with it and merging with that healing. So it gives us a tool to use. So it's guides and healing. It's amazing. Healing energy felt nice when we were doing that. Thank you, Sue.
Yeah, thank you.
See?
Did you say me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I slept through it. I can't remember anything.
Gosh,
So-
you look like you were awake. You slept
That was
up
really
right.
good then, wasn't it? I just woke up right at the end. Yeah, it was, and just where with Uriel and the peace, and I just saw a symbol. It was like phase symbol with a circle with a cross for the peace, and that was all I can remember.
Good.
And I felt I was nodding, so I'm surprised you didn't spot me.
So if you need to bring peace to a situation or peace to yourself, then you can, if that symbol shows up in your mind, then it's showing you what you need to bring in.
Yeah.
You see that symbol, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I need to tune into that energy. Let's bring some peace and tranquility into this space. And that will just help us to clear the energy.
Yeah, I feel like I need one of those little address book type notebook things.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, just purely for what symbols mean what to you. And and you'll get loads of those probably in dreams, and yes, also something that I need to do. I've got things written all over the place, literally. I've got like 1 million books. It's just whatever one's handy.
You need to collate it all, yeah.
It'll be your own as well. Nobody else can properly decipher your symbols and gifts and stuff for you either. Not really. You can-ish to a certain degree if somebody's trained in that, but really they're personal to you, aren't they? So when you've made a dictionary of your own, then that gets easier.
Yeah.
And then those symbols will show up when you're working with other people too. So that brings the vibration of that energy, and then just like that, just in a flash, because you're familiar with it, which makes it easier to channel the energy, because we're not thinking it, then we're just allowing it to flow.
Yeah.
Because you think, oh, see a peace symbol, I know what that feels like, and that energy will just flow through. It's not like, oh, what would they need here? If you've gone back into your thinking, you've kind of shut off your channel a little bit. So that, and again, it's practice and discipline. So lifelong thing, isn't it? But fun to play with.
I was going to say it's better discipline than some disciplines.
Yeah, exactly. I'd much rather play with this stuff. Thank you, Mandy. Faye?
I have to go back in. Yeah, I just started getting stuff, and I'm going to go straight back in after this.
You got some more stuff to clear?
Loads of stuff. Yeah, I have to go back in, and yeah.
Well, listen to the meditation again.
Yeah, or just like, I remember where I left off, and I remember where I was.
Okay, so it was a bit quick for you.
Yeah, there's going to be quite a bit tonight, which is a
Okay.
shame because I wanted to do work, but never mind.
Set a timer in case you fall asleep, so that you know you've got an end to your meditation, so you bring it to a close and bring your energy back to your body, a bit like you would close a session in divine healing.
Yeah, so I don't
Set the intention that happens at the end, so that you don't leave yourself out in the ethers with whoever.
Yeah, good idea. I'll do that now.
And actually know that you're in charge, Faye, and that you don't need to clear all of it in one go. You could park some of it. Yeah, because I know you get quite bombarded. That can be a bit much sometimes, can't it?
There's been stuff coming up over the last week. I know that there's quite a lot being shifted, so it's all good. It's all good. It was
You feel all right though, yeah?
Oh yeah, it was really, really nice.
Okay, good.
Really nice.
As long as I know where you're at. That's good. I enjoyed that, ladies. Thank you. So
Thank you.
I may even duplicate it and crop it, just the meditation bit, actually, because that'd be a nice one to visit just like that on its own.
Yeah, I agree.
Play with this yourselves too. Make your own meditations. Bring in different archangels, different guides. Just have a look at what they mean, and just have your book in front of you and make it up as you go along. Or make a list of their attributes and just let it flow. Could ask, your guardian angel, your spirit guide, to come in and merge with you and help you do that. However you need to do it, but just do your senses. Do what sense feels what emotion, and how do you feel that in your body. Experience the elements. And then once you have all those tools in place, invite in different guides and see how they turn up in your senses. Where is it in your body? Have you been given symbols? Just over and over. This is all learning for me too, because as this comes through me, and as I come to speak to you, I'm also speaking to myself, because some of it ends up being channeled. I don't know how I'm going to show up to a session, and then I have to listen too. So I appreciate the space that you're giving me to do my learning as well, because I'm a facilitator, but it's still part of my journey.
I included you in the healing as well, so just in case you didn't realise.
Pardon?
I included you in the healing.
Thank you. Thank you. That's really kind. I did feel it just felt really nice, that energy going around. I could feel like everybody had their hand on each other's heart, and that Raphael was doing the same thing. It just felt really warm in that space. So even those that fell asleep, you all had some healing.
That's why I fell asleep.
Probably. That's probably the point that you fell asleep in. I'd have been asleep if I hadn't have been needing to stay awake to speak. So, yeah, if I got comfy and I shut my eyes, I would probably stop talking by accident and actually end up, you'd be like, oh, where's she gone? I'd wake up, you'll have all gone out of my meeting room and it'd just be me looking at me. So
There was a point where I dipped in and out and it was really quiet and I thought,
she's still
have
there.
they finished? I'd
a
half an eye
dramatic
open.
pause.
Oh no, it's all right. Thought you'd all gone and I was still sitting here an hour later or something.
Well, it would happen to some people if they've fallen. So if you think you turn up to, say, a Tim Wilde meditation and there's like his Zoom room takes up to 1,000 people.
Does it?
So they're not going to check that everybody's come back.
Well, of course not.
They don't even do the housekeeping at the beginning to say, you know, have something to make sure you're back at the end.
No, don't they?
No,
So they just shoot off and they'll be sitting there.
they don't go through each box and check that.
They're not going to, are they, with that many? No.
They don't even, I don't think they can even see the participants in that way. It's just presenter view, I think, isn't it, Faye? Isn't it normally?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
You get a few comments, but you don't see everyone.
No,
No.
same with Laurie Ladd, you can just see her. So yeah,
Yeah.
I feel better making sure everybody's actually back in the whole. Not left you out in the wherever, back and beyond. Right, I'll let you go, ladies. And Faye, you can go and finish what you were doing.
Go fly off again. Thank you for that.
And I'll see you all on Telegram tomorrow, no doubt.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Thanks then.
You all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome.
Bye.